Hello there, this is Wolfgang Grinfeld and I'm going to talk to you about the pollution controlled window handler, which is a nocturnal eco-friendly second-hand cigarette smoke protection system. Typically during the summertime I'd like to sleep with an open window because it's too hot even in my bedroom and the window helps there. Unfortunately for me and my family, we live in a neighborhood where people also smoke during the night. As such, I had the choice between not sleeping because the room was too hot, or not sleeping because of secondhand smoke coming into my bedroom. Now, of course, if money wasn't an object, then I could, and I didn't care about the environment, I could of course install a full-blown air conditioning system. Didn't want to do that. So I got myself an alternative, which is the pollution controlled window handler. Now how that works? Well, at night the pollution controlled window handler closes the window when the system detects cigarette smoke, or actually any other pollutant outside. Then opens it again when the coast is clear, meaning there is no one smoking and there is no other pollutants detected. This system doesn't cost that much either. It's a lot cheaper than an air conditioning system or even some kind of cooling system. Now, what do you need for that? You need an electronic nose capable of detecting and reporting the air quality within seconds. You need a process controller. You need a robotic arm to open and close the window, and the software for all that. Now, in my solution, we got as electronic nose an AirBeam 2. One can buy an AirBeam 2. You can go and have a look at www.aircasting.org, or build something yourself, and for that you could also go there because the blueprint of the AirBeam 2 is you can download this thing over there. Now the air quality data from the AirBeam 2 is forwarded via Bluetooth to the process controller every second. You need software for that, but we'll talk about the software part later. The process controller in my case is an old laptop running Ubuntu Linux on top of a VBox2 actuator controller, as well as an USB capable DVB-S TT Connect S2400 satellite receiver. The name is bigger than it actually is. The laptop takes the input from the AirBeam 2 and decides, depending upon configuration, whether to close or open the window or shut down the process controller. You could do that, for example, in the morning. When it's gotten this information, it then forwards a DISEC command to the satellite receiver, which in its turn forwards it to the VBox2. The VBox2 then controls the robotic arm. Top left you see here the TT Connect one. It's a small thing really. It's slightly smaller than a, well actually it's similar in size to what you see on the screen here. In other words, it's like a few centimeters wide and a few centimeters tall or long. And then you got the laptop on the bottom right hand side, and then you got the VBox2 on the left hand side. Now, as a robotic arm, I'm using a Jaeger actuator connected to a homemade GoPro car suction mount. That's like for cameras. It's meant to be for cameras, but you can easily connect it to the satellite actuator. And then the actuator is mounted upon a satellite base. Now, you're going to have to configure all this, and it may be an issue depending on the volatility of the data received from the electronic nose. If you live in an environment where there's lots of pollution and coming from different sides, and the wind is not reliable either, then this system is going to give you less reliable results than if you live in a relatively clean air area. Well, your mileage may therefore vary depending on where you live. Fortunately, the volatility goes down when at night, and that helps this system as well. Now you see here the software. The software can be found on the GitHub in the repositories AirBeam Client, Air Quality Actor, and VBox Control of myself, Wolfgang Greenfeld. That's the owner. And let's go through this. You have the AirBeam client, and that's written by myself, and because the AirBeam 2 normally you get it and control it via a phone, an Android phone, or any other Android device, and that's not good for me because an Android device is not going to be able to easily handle my actuator. So I would have to find another solution if I were to program it on the Android, and therefore I programmed it on an Ubuntu laptop, an old one, and wrote the software which allows the laptop to get the data from the AirBeam 2, and that's in this AirBeam client. Now, getting the data is not enough. You also have to have something that evaluates that data, and that is the air quality actor. The information coming from the AirBeam client gets evaluated, and depending on what you configured, it then opens or closes the door via dissect commands currently. If you use the VBox Control software, which I wrote as well. So, now if you want to run this solution, you will have to have on your laptop or whatever you're using the JDK of Java 8. The JRE of Java will not suffice. That will not work. You will need the JDK, otherwise, the program will not run. And you need the GCC compiler to compile the VBox Control source. It's a simple program. It will run on well nigh any Linux box. You can compile it there. It doesn't need any libraries. It's pretty simple. It will not run under Windows. If you're interested in running the software under Windows, there is extra stuff to do for you. In other words, you will need some basic programming knowledge to use all this. And you will need it also to configure it if you decide to change the configuration the configuration might work fine for you just like it is. Now here is an example of manually controlling the door using the VBox control software that I wrote. It's actually pretty simple. You call VBox control -G and then you give either 1 or 2, 1 being closed and 2 being open. You will need to program the VBox 2 either with the VBox control commands or with the remote of the VBox 2. To tell where is 1 and where is 2, because the VBox 2 box won't know that unless you tell him where is what. Now, as a demo, we're now going to run the software with the shell script door control. Door control is something very simple. We'll look at the shell scripts afterwards, but you could also do it without this shell script if you wanted to. So before being able to start this program, you have to turn on the Airbeam 2, which I did do before starting this program. And you see there someone is holding a candle there. The candle has just been blown out. That is to make some dust in the air. The Airbeam 2 will discover there's something there. We'll open the window blinds a little bit better so you can see the candle. It doesn't make much stink, this candle, when it's blown out, but it does create a little bit for a little while, and then it stops creating dust in the air. But the Airbeam 2 was able to detect it, and so therefore the door gets opened. Sorry, the door gets closed. The door gets closed because there is pollution in the air, and this could be cigarette smoke, or it could be anything else. Because the Airbeam 2 then sends it on towards the air quality control, the air quality actor program, which then decides the door needs to be closed, and so it does get closed. So, as mentioned before, we have a few shell scripts and a configuration file. Let's look at the configuration file. Configuration file, you can configure a few different things. You have the warm up ignore in seconds. That is the amount of time nothing happens. That's during startup. 10 seconds are taken where it sort of says, well, we ignore everything what's happening. Then there is the door change timeout in seconds, meaning if you close the door, it will at least take 10 seconds to open it again. The other way around as well. If you open the door, it will at least take 10 seconds before it's allowed to close it. That is a small protection for different actuator controllers. The VBox 2, the way it's been programmed by myself, it doesn't require it, but well, your mileage may vary depending on which actuator controller you have. Then there is the door open timeout in seconds, currently configured to be 3600, meaning it takes 1 hour after the door is closed before it's allowed to open again. That's that way because you don't want the door to be continuously opening and closing during the night, because that makes too much noise and then you can't sleep either. You will not have any cigarette smoke within the room, but you won't have slept enough either. That's not good. So, and then there are 6 lines which indicate when it should close the door. It measures, the RBM2 measures PM1 size, PM2.5 size, and PM10 particle matter. So PM stands for particle matter, and size 10, that's that's the size of cigarette smoke, but cigarette smoke can be smaller as well. It can go even below PM1. PM1 is the dangerous one because it goes directly into the bloodstream. So yeah, if you encounter PM1 size particles and there's a lot of them, then that's going to affect your health quite heavily, much more than the PM10, for example. But as I said, we're using this to prevent cigarette smoke from coming into the bedroom. And so how it's currently configured? Well, it's taking the average size, and if the current value discovered by the RBM2 is like considerably more, meaning in this case 3.5 points more. Well, if it's like that, and it's this has been the case for at least the already valid 4 flag here, 5 seconds, then it closes the door. And it does that for PM1, PM2.5, and PM10. Average sizing. Modified by the volatility of the readings so achieved. If the volatility is high, it's not requiring for it to have 6 times in a row the same value, or rather 5 times. It will be happy to close the door faster. As I said, volatility can be an issue, but during the night the volatility is lower, so you should be okay there. Now, it's not only the average values, it's also the last 3 configuration values is how does it compare to the mode of all the values of the last 10 minutes. Now, over the last 10 minutes, mode means the values recorded the most during this period of time. So it's going to look at that, and if compared to the value last sent over from the RBM2, if the difference is too big, it will close. Too big meaning the mode is a lot lower. If the value difference is too big, it's going to close the door as well. Like that, if for some strange reason the amount of pollution goes up steadily, then you at least have a 10 minutes window where it's compared against. Now, it's also modified by the volatility encountered, and that is here calculated in using the get max mode deviation, which is similar in statistics to standard deviation, except that we're using here the value of max mode, meaning the mode, or rather the value that has been encountered the most, and if there is more than one value which has been encountered the most, it takes the biggest one of these. And then there is also a way to open the door. It sort of checks, well, over the last 4 hours, is it back to the mode of the value over the last 4 hours? If it's so, then effectively it's allowed to open the door, modified by the door timeout. If it's not yet an hour, it's not going to open the door, but afterwards it is. And then we also have the terminate processing rule, which says well, terminate if it's 6 o'clock or later. Then it's going to stop the computer. It's first going to close the door and then stop the computer running. Because we will no longer need it anymore until the next day, or rather the next night. So that was the configuration file. Let's have a look at the shell script still used. As I said, it's pretty simple. This program needs to run within a command box, right? A shell within a shell. What this is saying is, well, take the input of air beam listener and send it to the air quality actor. Both are here also shell scripts. That's the shell script for the air beam listener. It simply says run the main program within the air beam listener.jar, which is a Java program. And that's the shell script of the air quality actor, which simply runs the main program within the air quality actor jar and passes it along the configuration file which we looked at earlier. Now, if you look at the extra jars that you need, you'll need some Blue Cove libraries, or jars actually. Blue Cove libraries, or rather jars, are Linux specific. There is one for Windows as well, which probably will be able to be used in a Mac environment. Not sure, I haven't tried that. The Windows jar I have tried, but then you're going to have to do something about the VBox Control C program, because that's meant to be used within a Unix type environment. There is a Unix environment available for Windows. It's called Cygwin. You might be able to get it running that way if your bound to use it within a Unix Windows environment. If not, do go ahead and use a Linux laptop like I did. That will work fine. So we're coming to the end of this screencast. If you found this video useful, or you would like to contact me for any other reason, feel free to contact me on my email address wlgreenfeld@hotmail.com. Bye for now.